In our modern society, most of us enjoy traveling to different places and eating foods from various cultures. And now, some of the most exciting dishes at the fancy restaurants are fusions, which combine foods, ingredients, and sauces from different cultures together in an exciting new dish. Likewise, you may be interested in dating, or perhaps you are already in a relationship with a person from a different culture. This video will explore interracial dating and keys to making an interracial relationship or interracial marriage work. My name is Jeff Lee from the Shyness Breakthrough community, and I help people overcome their shyness, improve their social skills, and connect with others despite their backgrounds. Many of us find it exciting to travel when there's not a pandemic, and eating a variety of foods, enjoying different cultures, the music, the people from different areas. And sometimes those travelers, whether they're there for work or for school, take an interest in a significant other from a different culture. For example, Asian women in particular have dated or married outside their race for a while. And now others are slowly opening up to this idea. Interracial relationships, like most relationships, are exciting, especially in the beginning, during the honeymoon stages. But eventually, you're going to encounter some challenges, and it's going to take work to make this relationship last. Now, I'm going to tell you something that you probably won't find in books or online, and this is coming from experiences from many other interracial couples and from my own personal interracial relationship, as I'm Asian and my wife is Latina. All relationships that last take work, and interracial relationships take more work, and there are additional challenges to overcome. So here are some things to reflect on and talk about with your significant other. If you are in a relationship with someone from a different culture, are you willing to adapt? And this is going to apply whether you two are in the States or if you decide to live in another country. And by the way, one important caution: if you are the one who are deciding to move to that other country, know that living in that country is very different from being a tourist while on vacation in that country. So one suggestion is to find out as much as you can about the country, the history, its customs. Also pay a visit there, observe your significant other with their family, because perhaps they're very polite, kind, and hardworking, helpful at work. Are they like that at home with their family? Here's another question. Do you two enjoy each other's cultures? It's good to talk about these big issues early on in your relationship, because the sooner you find out, the better. Especially before you invest a lot of time, energy, emotion, and money into this relationship. There's another question. Will you need to learn another language? Learning the basics can really help you, especially in another country, just to communicate with others and their side of the family as well, who may not speak English. Will you need to make some adjustments to big differences in living conditions and culture? For example, I'm an Asian, my wife is Latina, and for me, I grew up in a small town in the States, and I was a minority. But in South America, I'm even more of a minority. It's even more rare, even in the big cities. And by the way, there's no political correctness in South America. Well, not like it is in the States. Like, for example, if I'm in South America and I'm walking in the market, some people may say in Spanish, "Oye, chino." Say, "Hey, chino," which basically means, "Hey, Chinese guy." Or some people, I heard it many times, "Hey, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee." These Latinos, they love Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee. But you can't do that in the States. You can't just say, if you see a black guy, you can't say, hey, Michael Jordan, Will Smith. Or if you meet an Italian guy, you can't just say, hey, Pavarotti. Because in some places you might get the beat down for that. But that's just a different culture. Different cultures, different living in different lands. Another difference is traffic. I will not drive in South America. Here, many people are in a rush. They're trying to pass each other all the time. They drive on the side of the road to pass each other. The motorcycles kind of weave in and out of traffic and cut you off. Like, no, thank you. Another difference is groceries, or checking out your groceries. Like in Western countries, like the States, you have the express checkout in pretty much most stores. If you have less than 15 items, or there might be a scanner, self checkout, so you can scan your own items. It's so fast. But in other countries, you don't have that. You don't have a self scanner. So that was a big change for me. I'm not used to waiting. If I only have a few items, and I might have to wait for someone with a whole cart full of groceries. But there's a lot of things that I love too, like the Latin culture, the people, the passion, and that it's family oriented and affectionate. Because being raised Asian, most Asians are not used to hugs or affection, even from their own family. I also love the music, the dancing, the food, the fruits and vegetables are so fresh and natural. This is like different. You can taste the difference. It tastes like a real orange, or my favorite, mangoes. This tastes like a real mango, and much cheaper than the States. On the other hand, could it be that you're in love with the culture, but perhaps not so much the person? If that's the case, that fascination will wear off in time. For example, I had a white classmate, and he loved Indian girls. But it wasn't so much about that particular girl. It was more about the Indian culture and the food and the movies. So he would just jump from one Indian girl to another without any serious relationship. Or today, like many people love Korean dramas. But that doesn't necessarily mean they like a particular Korean guy or girl. But serious relationships and marriage binds people together. And in order to meet the challenge of a relationship, and especially marriage, takes a lot of understanding, patience, self-sacrifice, and a lot of effort, even under the best situation, even under the best circumstances. So when partners come from different cultures, those qualities need to be developed to an even greater extent in order to make that relationship or marriage last. Another challenge or possible source of irritation is that in Western cultures and Asian cultures, privacy is highly respected. The home is like a castle, a place of peace and quiet and rest, place to rest away from the outside world. But in other cultures, they're more open. So sometimes your place may feel, if you're in that culture, sometimes your place may feel like in a hotel. And friends and relatives may just drop by, even if they're from out of town. They'll just give you a call and say, hey, I'm in town. Can we stay at your place? And the answer better be, yeah, of course you can stay. You're always welcome. Even though it's a total surprise. You could have told me that a week ago or 2 weeks ago or a month ago when you booked that reservation on the flight. But that's just a different way of doing things. So here's some suggestions to help bridge the cultural gap for those who decide to become involved or even marry a person from a different culture. Make an effort to learn the language of their family. If you only speak English when they're around, they may feel left out. Or they may even feel suspicious that the conversation is about them. Don't worry that your grammar is not perfect or that you think you're not good at learning languages. Just do what you can. Use what you know. People will appreciate your efforts. And in time, your language will improve. Don't make constant comparisons to the old way of life. Accept the fact that your previous way of doing things was not the only way. Like, for example, the main meal in Latin culture is lunch, whereas back home, it may be dinner. And sometimes I still have to adjust to that because it affects a lot of parts of your life. It even affects business areas too. Like, for example, some big businesses, even banks, they close down for lunch. Like I remember going to this bank. I usually go to the bank during lunch because I don't like to wait in lines, and usually at lunch it's a shorter line. But in a lot of parts of Latin America, it's closed. Sometimes they have 2-hour lunches. And one time I went to the bank during lunch and it was closed, and I saw the employee sleeping on one of the couches. It's a different way of doing things. Also, take time to learn the local social customs. Some of these you can learn just by observation. Because in some cultures, the pace of life is slower, and you're expected to have polite conversations with others, even if it's like a delivery guy, or when you're in a park with strangers. So it's important to have the right attitude and recognize that there are different ways of doing things. And just because it's done in a different way doesn't make it good or bad or right or wrong. And keep in mind that if you're the one moving to another country, you are the foreigner. So most of the adapting needs to be done by you. You can't expect others to conform to your standards or your way of life. So to recap, here are some suggestions to help you adapt to each other's cultures and become more connected in your interracial dating or relationships. 1, learn the local customs. 2, try new foods and try to learn the language. 3, avoid comparing it to your former way of life. Like back in the States, back in America, or my family or my culture did this. Now you're in a new culture, new land. And 4, adjust your mental attitude and think positively. Interracial relationships are exciting, but they take a special effort to make it work. And by working together, you can have an amazing, exciting journey ahead. And by working together, you can have an amazing, exciting journey ahead. In the meantime, comment below on your favorite part of interracial dating, or maybe your greatest challenge, and we can make sure to address it in later videos. And make sure to download the free ebook, Overcome Shyness Quick Start Guide, for more strategies to help you conquer shyness and improve your social skills. The link for the ebook will be in the description below. And remember to hit the like button, as this really helps us out, and subscribe so you can be notified of weekly videos to help you overcome shyness, improve your social skills, and connect with others.